Hello, boys and girls. It's so nice to see you. I have a story I'd like to read to you today. It's called The Mitten by Jan Brett. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first, his grandmother did not want to knit white mittens. "If you drop them in the snow," she said, "you'll never find them." But Nicky wanted snow-white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. There's Baba and Nicky. After she finished, she said, "When you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you still have your new snow-white mittens." So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of those mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. Can you see where the mitten is? Right there in the snow. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten, and he burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. It's a nice place for a mole to go. Soon a snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and when he wiggled in, feast first, the mole didn't think there was room for both of them. But when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved right over. Rabbit would have kicked him with his feet. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were pumped and bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. And now look, there's 3 of them in there. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by all the commotion, swooped down to see what was happening. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. What's happening to the mitten? Looks like it's getting bigger. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. And I don't know if you can see those diggers, but they're very sharp toenails. And they let him move in. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotted by and stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel very drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. Holy mackerel. I don't know how they're all going to fit. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be, but what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and it stretched. It pulled and it bulged to many times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came a teeny tiny meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space that was left and made herself comfortable right on top of the bear's nose. Can you see the little mouse? Right on the bear's nose. All of a sudden, the bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! And the force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all different directions. Everywhere they flew. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape floating in the air in the distance. It was his lost mitten, silhouetted against the blue sky. Oh my goodness, I wonder if he even noticed that he'd lost his mitten. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then, when she saw that he still had his new mittens, she put a smile on her face. And there he is, catching that mitten. And there's Baba, looking at the pair of mittens she knit and wondering, why is this mitten so much bigger than the other one? You know why now. And that's the end of our story. Thank you, boys and girls, for listening. And I just want to remind you, it's Christmas time. Be very kind to one another, and Santa will come see you soon. Bye now.